Good morning. Here we are. It's the sixth day, our second week, where we've been looking at the subject of spiritual dejection. And I want to read you what our topic is today. It's when my desire has become my obsession. And this is not an unusual experience for us. It's when we get too fixated on some desire and it becomes an obsession. It shows itself inside our mind sometimes in the kind of language like, if I can't have this, I'll never be happy. I just won't be satisfied. I've got to have this, whatever it is. Let me show you the storyline that we get this concept from. We're again in 1 Kings chapter 21, still dealing with King Ahab and his wife Jezebel. In 1 Kings 21 it says, sometime later there was an incident involving a vineyard belonging to Naboth the Jezreelite. The vineyard was in Jezreel, close to the palace of Ahab, the king of Samaria. Ahab said to Naboth, "Let me have your vineyard to use for a vegetable garden, since it is close to my palace. In exchange, I will give you a better vineyard, or if you prefer, I will pay you whatever it's worth." But Naboth replied, "The Lord forbid that I should give you the inheritance of my fathers." Israelites were given land and they were supposed to pass it down through their lineage. Verse 4. So Ahab went home sullen and angry because Naboth the Jezreelite had said, "I will not give you the inheritance of my fathers." He lay on his bed sulking and refused to eat. His desire had become an obsession. He was a king. He had all kinds of wealth, all kinds of money, but he had to have this one thing. He fixated on this one thing to the point that he forgot everything else that he had. Verse 5, his wife Jezebel came in and asked him, "Why are you so sullen? Why won't you eat?" He answered her, "Because I said to Naboth the Jezreelite, 'Sell me your vineyard, or if you prefer, I will give you another vineyard in its place.' But he said, 'I will not give you my vineyard.'" Jezebel, his wife, said, "Is this how you act as the king over Israel? Get up and eat. Cheer up. I'll get you the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite." So Jezebel goes and hires a couple of guys to make false accusations against Naboth, to say that Naboth blasphemed God and blasphemed and slandered the king. And they take Naboth out and stone him. They kill the man. He's an innocent man. So here's the results. Verse 15, as soon as Jezebel heard that Naboth had been stoned to death, she said to Ahab, "Get up and take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite that he refused to sell you. He's no longer alive, but dead." When Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, he got up and he went down to take possession of Naboth's vineyard. But Elijah, God's prophet, meets him there. And this is where both Ahab and Jezebel had gone a little too far. And God declares that he's going to judge them. He's going to judge their family lineage. Their lineage will no longer be kings in Israel. And that's the end of the reign of Ahab and Jezebel. Now, here we see a dangerous, dangerous thing occur with King Ahab, where the one thing he didn't have, the one desire that was not fulfilled, instead of allowing himself to think about all the desires that were fulfilled in his life, all the things that he did have, he fixated on that one thing. I've just experienced this kind of thing myself. I've seen other people do it, where we magnify, we just kind of get a laser focus on the one thing we want but don't have. And we completely forget the multitude of things that we do have. And it puts us in a very distorted state of mind. And we start to obsess, and we get irrational, and we are unsatisfiable. And like Ahab, we sulk, and we're even open to doing things that should not be done to fulfill some desire that we feel maybe we deserve to have fulfilled. Maybe we feel we're owed. Maybe we feel we're entitled, whatever it may be. So this is a dangerous condition, and it can put us into that spiritually dejected state where we're vulnerable, like Ahab and Jezebel, to do terrible things to get our desire fulfilled. So as much as I hope nobody today is in that condition or ever will be careful when some desire starts to hound us inwardly. We need to quickly get that desire up before God. We need to talk to Him about it. We need to ask Him, is this something permissible? Is this something that He wants us to deny? Jesus says the key to life is to deny ourselves and take up our cross and follow Him. He says that you're not going to miss out on anything in this life if you don't have every desire fulfilled. In fact, the key to life, He says, is to literally deny some desires. That brings freedom. It doesn't bring, it's the path to freedom as opposed to the path to frustration. So, if you're spiritually dejected today, and I'll just bet somebody hearing this might be, there's one thing in your life, there's one desire that's not being fulfilled, and you're just fixated on it. You've got to stop, and you've got to get before God and let Him help you process this desire before it becomes an obsession that leads to some very bad decisions. That's the end of our journey with spiritual dejection, and I look forward to taking the next journey with you next week. Bye now.